Okay. It's kind of dark. Can't really see my face. But lately, when I've been thinking through some things and having different, thought processes as it relates to past, present, or future, sometimes it's easier for me to video talk things out, like vlog it, instead of writing it. I know that on my in my own time, I usually like to journal, just because I can get all of my thoughts out. Whereas now it seems like they've been coming faster than I'm able to write. So I just want to capture the moment, and so I just do a video vlog, as you would call it. Not to put on social media or not to put on YouTube or anything like that. It's really just for my own personal use. Maybe one day I'll delete it. Maybe one day I'll walk through it in my journal and then delete it. I don't really know yet, but here it is. So a while ago, I remember feeling like a seed filler. And I got that from this movie that I watched, where the guy's job was to fill the empty seats, like in the Grammys and stuff like that, because they didn't want you to know that there were gaps in the seats, And so this guy was a seat filler. He ended up filling the seat next to a famous singer, and he basically pretended that he was the guy that belonged in that seat, even though he wasn't. He was basically just one of regular old workers, not a rich man with this big, beautiful home. So, long story short, I realized that over my time in ministry, in one aspect or another, I have filled a seat. When I first started, I was working as the person that would get the books together and put the sign up, the banner. I would lift it up, and I was tall, so that was fine. And I did it with such great joy and such great pleasure. Then as time would have it, I would go from doing that to, I don't know, I think I was like the scribe next. And then I was, the assistant admin to the executive admin, and then I was the executive admin at one point, and then I was the volunteer coordinator, and then I was I don't know what for the youth and young adults, because I really never got to fully walk in that at the time, but I remember like it being said something about the youth and young adults. Then it was like the director of A.G. Bragg's Enterprise. It was the director of the Enterprise, and then I became the sound person, and at certain times the usher and the greeter, and at certain times the altar worker. Not really having titles for those things, just knowing that that's something that I did. And at one point, I think the enemy tried to use that as a negative thing against me. Like, every title you get, it doesn't really feel like yours. You're just filling in seats until the next person comes. And then when somebody comes that's more gifted and better than you are, then it's just gonna get taken away from you and given to that person. So don't get too comfortable in no spot, because really you don't have a spot, And so I remember the day that I had really cried out to Jesus about it, because it was really bothering me. And he began to tell me how he was the seat filler, how he filled the seat for everything that we lack in our lives. If you don't have a mother or father or finances or friends or joy or peace or strength or comfort, if when you're full of sin and you needed to be delivered and set free, that even him dying on the cross filled the seat for you, filled the seat for me. And so as I began to look at it in a different way, I began to be so grateful and thankful for all the many seats that the Lord allowed me to fill just in ministry alone. And then never knowing that you just never know what the Lord is doing, you know. So this May, I am supposed to be ordained as the pastor over Crossover International Ministries. And I know things change. Like, you know, I'm not just like I know that I know that I know it's going to happen. Whatever the Lord chooses is fine with me. However, what I will say about it is that you can't get to the place that God wants for you to go if you won't submit to the process. So maybe it's all about perspective. Maybe I filled all of those seats so then I can know what it feels like to sit in all of those positions, so that when I am pastoring over all of those positions, then I will be able to better relate to the leaders that we have in those positions, because I've been there. And it also says not to despise the day of small beginnings, because you never know what God is up to. You never know where he really wants to take you. And so I figured that out a while ago when Jesus told me about him being the seat filler, that it's just a process. Whatever your process looks like, that's your process. But just know that nothing that you do for God goes unnoticed. Nothing that you do for God goes in vain. Like, it is a reason behind it all. There is a process behind it all. There is an agenda behind it all, and the agenda of the Lord always works in your favor. I know sometimes we hear the word agenda and we think of like something sneaky and suspicious, but the Lord's agenda for your life is never sneaky and it's never suspicious. And so his agenda for why he wants you to learn the things that he wants you to learn, why he wants you to go through the things that he wants you to go through. And sometimes, no, the Father didn't send certain things, but even if it wasn't God approved, it doesn't mean that it won't be God used. And so there's some things that you can fall into that you got yourself in, but he's always there to pick you up and get you out. There's going to be some things that you get yourself into. There's going to be some things that other people send your way that God didn't necessarily ordain for you to go that way. Or maybe there's going to be some opportunities that present itself that didn't necessarily come from the Lord. But whatever that may be, even if God didn't send it, trust and believe that he'll use it. So that's all that I had. And that's all I wanted to share. Trust the process. All right, be blessed.